Hi guys, welcome back to Hairdryer Treatment. I'm a bit speechless, to be honest. I don't know what to really say after that game, but obviously we've just witnessed United against Liverpool at Anfield, 0-0 draw, a score that not a lot of people predicted. I'll start with you, Meg, as the United fan. I mean, how do you feel after that? Do you think that's a point gained?
At half time, it's a point gained. I think come full time, it's almost 2 points drops, because I feel like that second half we definitely grew into the game. After 30 minutes, I thought we're literally just going to defend for a full 90 minutes, and we're just going to see if we can pinch anything. And I was thinking Liverpool are bound to open us up at some point, but that second half, and especially in the last 10 minutes of the first half, we really grew into it. And that Pogba, I was just saying, so that Pogba chance, I thought it was in. I thought it was that. And anywhere else, even just an inch higher, I think that goes over Alisson's gloves. I think it's hit so well, but Alisson's in the perfect place, and I think it's just straight at him. So I've taken 0-0 yesterday, and I shook your hand and said, yes, I'll have a point. Come the end of the game, I am a little bit not disappointed, just a bit gutted that we didn't go out and get 3 points.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Pogba chance in particular at the end, I think we should have scored. But I thought Pogba played well tonight, to be honest with you. And I think a lot of his work he did go in the opposite way, but I thought he played well. And I think it was just a really, really tight game. It's frustrating because I do feel, especially towards the end, Liverpool were there for the taking. And I'm gutted that we just didn't do it, Doug. But Doug, firstly, thanks for coming on. And secondly, as a Liverpool fan, how do you feel after that?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really do appreciate it. You guys should have won. I've kept saying it. I've kept saying it from like 5-10 minutes before I came on. You guys should have won that second half. I think I'm very disappointed in how we played in that second half. Like first half, I think we dominated the first 15 to 20 minutes, and then you guys came into it. And now that's 3 games now we have not scored a goal. So something really is not working. And I think, as I've said in many, many videos, I think the front 3 for us is really stale now. Something needs to change.
I don't think with that front 3, and especially with you obviously not scored, it doesn't look like the old Liverpool where things were kind of just fluid and you kind of played a pass and somebody was always going to be on the end of it. It's almost like players are on a different wavelength now, and it's not quite clicking for Liverpool. I feel like we could have exploited that a little bit more. We soaked their pressure up really well, but did Manchester United do enough to exploit the fact that Liverpool aren't quite connected as they were before?
One thing I will say is we've witnessed us making mistakes defensively, letting in stupid goals. I thought we defended amazingly well again tonight. Maguire deserves praise, but a player in particular that Blue mentioned and was defended him yesterday on our show with Greg, Lindelof. He came in, a lot of people were questioning it because of Eric Boye. We know Boye's made a glass, and we did say yesterday that he could be brought back out for Lindelof because he's obviously trusted by Oli. He's coming tonight, Meg, and he did great, didn't he?
There was that block that set an attack up, and I said to my husband Josh, that's on the screen now, it was like Baye-esque. He was in that, that, I don't even know how Baye puts himself, like a starfish body position when he blocks those shots. There's like freeze frames of it, isn't it, where he's literally like all arms out. Lindelof did exactly the same thing, and it set an attack. I do think defensively we soaked up so much pressure, and we just held firm. There was like a few opportunities, but we kept them at arm's length. So I don't think Liverpool created enough opportunities within the box. I think a lot of it was at arm's length, and I've used this word so many times this season, like quite tame.
Yeah, I didn't never feel worried, and I'll ask you, Doug, on this one. I never felt worried that you were going to play through us. The only worry I had was the fact that Bruno plays so high. It left Thiago in acres of space to just dictate, especially in the first half. We saw, how good he is at passing. He had a few shots as well. De Gea made one of his only saves, I think, from a Thiago shot. That space was what worried me, and I thought if anything was going to happen, it was going to come from deep for Liverpool, and not necessarily like you would normally expect Liverpool to play through you as such. I feel like we defended solidly as a team, and I think our defence deserve a lot of credit because we can talk about Liverpool's attack, but I think ultimately we didn't really give you space to create anything.
No, absolutely not. I think the way that we were trying to play, we all know about Trent Alexander-Arnold. We know about Andy Robertson. Like, Andy Robertson is better than Trent this season. There's no denying that. Firmino was wasteful. There was one shot where I think he had where we were on the counter attack. You actually had a chance in our box. We counter attacked, and all he has to do is basically side foot it, and he just hit it straight to here. So that was the most annoying thing. But I thought Shaw kept Salah really quiet. I thought Aaron Wan-Bissaka kept Mane very, very quiet as well. So if there was any time of trying to get a goal, it was going to be outside the box. It was going to be a worldie of a shot, but it just didn't happen.
I agree. We just didn't feel like it was going to happen. Sorry, Meg.
So that's just because Doug just mentioned that Shaw and Salah battle was a really interesting one to watch. But I actually think Shaw really rose up to the challenge against Salah. He was strong against him. He didn't really let him out of his sight too much. He was next to him. The pace as well that we know that Salah's got. I think Shaw definitely held his own on that left back position.
Shaw for me was man of the match tonight, and I know a lot of people give him stick, but surely today United fans can actually open their eyes and say, you know what, he played well tonight. And he always seems to thrive in these kind of battles, Luke Shaw, doesn't he? When it's a big game and he's playing up against the likes of Salah, this seems to bring the best out of him. But what I also liked about him was his driving runs going forwards. He had purpose going forwards as well. It wasn't like he was happy to just sit and defend. When he did get the ball, he did a few drives forward as well. And he was really positive. And I think Meg, for me, was our standout player. I think Pogba played really well as well. But Shaw, for me, was man of the match. Would you agree on that one?
Yeah, I probably would give it to Shaw. Like I mentioned with Pogba, I think he played really well as well. But I think Shaw just upped it another level for him tonight. And I think, like you said, those drives, he won a little free kick around the edge of the 18-yard box in the first half because he got the ball and he was really positive with it. And I think we lacked that very much in the first half. I think we were quite negative. But Shaw actually picked the ball up. And because he did it with pace as well, it's so difficult to defend against when you get a player that picks the ball up and literally goes for it. And it's like you can't move as quick as them. And I don't know what it is, but as a defender, I mean, it's happened to me millions of times. That an attacker will just pick the ball up and with one touch, they're moving forward straight away. They don't stop the ball and then try and go forward. And I did like that with Shaw. And again, we've seen it time and time again with his overlaps a few times again, overlap tonight, creating cross chances.
Yeah, and Stephen mentions the ladies. Obviously, we'll talk about that towards the end of the show, but unfortunately the loss today to Chelsea was disappointing. However, I think there's plenty of positives, Lauren James in particular, and we'll touch on that at the end. I'll let Meg have a little say on the ladies team. But we'll focus on the men for now. I mean, Doug, as a Liverpool fan, are you happy with a draw from that after the way that you played?
After the way we played, yes. I think you guys, obviously, you're still top, but we didn't play well today, and if I would have took a draw before the start of the game anyway, because of obviously us not having Matip and Fabinho and Henderson playing at the back again, where I was very, very worried about that, but I actually thought they did an okay job. Fabinho for me was very, very good. Trent, I've said to you many, many times, Sophie, I've said that Trent is not having the best of seasons, and I think Luke Shaw did really well against him, and I think Rashford had a good game against him as well. But if you're giving me a draw before the start of the game, with obviously not having Matip in there, us not having two out-and-out centre-backs, I would have taken it.
Yeah, definitely. Alex, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. It says, the fact that we are disappointed about not winning a game at Anfield and wanted more than a 0-0 draw shows how far we have come as a team under Ollie. We are setting it ourselves high standards again. I agree. And to be fair, a lot of people are saying we don't deserve to be top of the league. We've just stumbled upon that. That's not a true reflection. Do you think that today, Meg, the fact that we went to Anfield, got a draw, probably unlucky not to win as well, do you think that is a bit of a statement there from us?
I think so. I think that could have been a game where we could have lost quite easily as well. I think we have seen in the past that Manchester United have gifted goals to other teams where we've let them onto us and we've made the mistake rather than the opposition creating the opportunity to score. I don't feel like we've stumbled across this. I know that perhaps if we'd got this amount of points and compare it to other seasons, but it's not other seasons, it's this season. And whilst everyone else is stumbling and dropping points, we're not. We're picking them up, and you can only play against the 11 that are against you. You can only do what you can do in a season where it doesn't matter what others are doing. If they're dropping points, then that's their problem, not ours. We just have to continue to do what we're doing, which at the moment is picking up the points.
Yeah, exactly. And so far, we've seen it so often before where later on we make a mistake or we can see the stupid goal and we regret not going for it. And I'm just glad that that wasn't the case today, because we've ended up getting a draw and not lost. But yeah, I just felt Liverpool were there for the taking. I think it's frustrating because obviously you always want to win. But end of the season, this point may be a crucial point at the end of the day. So, yeah, I think you have to focus on the positives. Bruno Fernandes, Doug, I'll start with you. I've just seen Seamus in the chat saying his only highlight was the fact that Bruno went off and he was mad for being subbed off. Do you read too much into that, or do you think it's just a player who wants to make a difference and you want them to feel frustrated, don't you, going off?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. He's a player that makes a complete difference to a team. I mean, he had a couple of sitters today, but that free kick. I mean, I was close. I thought it was in. I was sitting there, just sitting back and just watching the game, and I thought, yeah, that was close. It looked close, and it did look close in the replay. So I thought that was in. He had a bit of a weird game. Some of his passes weren't great. He had a couple of chances as well. There was one where Shaw plays him in, and Alisson saves very well from him. But yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes is a player that I think that's his first game against Liverpool, I think, as a Manchester United player anyway. So what you have to say, he is a game changer. And game changers are definitely there, to win games. And look, every player's frustrated when he gets subbed off. There's no denying that. But Bruno Fernandes is a game changer. But are you too worried that he might suffer from maybe burnout if you keep playing him? Because I have noticed recently that I think it was sort of towards sort of the end of last season, he was kind of suffering from burnout.
Yeah, I mean, Meg, I'll let you answer that one first. Do you think that is a worry?
I was going to take it back to that Project Restart spell that we had of those however many games that we had to play in quite a short period of time, and I think that he did look quite leggy and towards the end of those games, and I saw Ollie try and rotate it a little bit and bring him off the pitch. I felt like the frustration with him going off was more, not that he had a bad game, but the game was still there to be won, and we know how creative and how influential Bruno is for when we win. So I think that was more the issue. But I think we will see at times some form of rotation, and Bruno, depending on, it's difficult to balance it right now because it's so tight and we are top. We can't afford to drop points because, like you've seen today, Liverpool could drop down again because Man City are playing this evening, and if they win and they go above, Leicester last night, they win, they go above. So it's so tight that you can't afford to be dropping points. And I feel like if we have an opportunity to bring Bruno off in a game that we are winning already and we're comfortable in, I feel like that needs to happen so that he can have a rest, have this period to just come back down a little bit and just get back onto 11 playing field.
Yeah, and I think that in the games where we need to rotate Bruno Fernandes, we've got players like Van der Beek who can come in, who need to come in because he's desperate for minutes, and bless him, I thought he was going to get on today and he didn't. But you've got players like that, we should be able to rotate and use the squad, do you know what I mean? And in the past, it's been a case where we've had Andreas Pereira to come on. We have strengthened, and I'm hoping we strengthen even more, but I definitely think that we do need to rotate at some point. Keeping players like Boye and Bruno Fernandes fit are going to be crucial to us if we are going to be in this title race that people are saying we're in. But I'm not getting sucked into that yet, but I am glad that we obviously didn't lose today, and I do think it is a bit of a statement from us. But Doug, obviously we've got Fulham next game, so you'd like to think that we're going to take confidence again from this point and go into that. Do you see United there as a realistic contender for the league?
Yes, I do. And I've actually missed the Liverpool Man United title race because the last one was 2008-2009. But to be fair, you guys have been fantastic recently. I remember everyone was, I know your fan base is divided with obviously, the manager, etc. But the one thing I will say though, since that Leipzig game, you've been absolutely fantastic. Something was said in that dressing room. I don't know what was said in that dressing room from Ollie, but he's just got them playing again. But it's been a fantastic run for you guys. And yeah, I think you're definitely improving under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Actually, the one thing that really has annoyed me today, and I don't know if you ladies think about it. What did you think of the offside flag going up? Like 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 seconds after. Like Rashford was the worst of it today. I think he had about 6 or 7 offsides today. But the fact that the flag didn't go up until like the ball went away from goal. What did you think about that?
Go on, Meg.
I'm laughing because there was one, and it was literally like it's 2 meters offside, and they allowed it to play on. And I was just thinking that everyone's seen it. It's not one of those ones that's got to go to VAR and we've got to start seeing these lines drawn on, and it is toe offside or not. Like, it was genuinely so obvious. But I feel like because we've got VAR, I feel like sometimes liners don't want to put their flag up too early now, even when it's obvious. They don't want to put it up just in case that they're going to second doubt themselves. But we've got VAR behind us anyway, so we know we can get it up. But I just feel like there's things like that if it's an obvious one, just put your flag up, just raise it. Everyone else is seeing it. There's no need to second doubt yourself. You don't need to go on. We don't need Rashford to run 20 more metres to know that he can just bring it back anyway. But the more obvious ones like that, I don't understand. There isn't an issue. Just raise your flag. I do think some of them where it is tight allow the play to go on for a little bit. It'd be interesting, Doug, actually to flip it back and to you about the half-time whistle. You were literally about to set off. Marnie was about to set off running, and I was like, "Ooh!" But they did say that it was obviously blown when the setback was, but.
I mean, I saw on the clock. I think was it 45:55? So it was like 5 seconds before halftime. No, I think. Look, we can now say in hindsight, like would he have scored? Probably not, because I think Lindelof and Maguire were there to cover him. But that was a bit of a talking point. But I am very, very glad that VAR did not get in the way of today's game. I think me and you said on my preview, Sophie, that we just wished VAR did not get into this game, and I think the fact that there was a lack of penalty shouts in this game, I can't actually remember a single decision where a decision went to VAR.
Yeah, there wasn't one, was there? There wasn't. I think you have to get into people's box to do that, and neither team really did that. So, yeah, it was just one of them games, isn't it? But Alex, thank you so much for the super chat. I also think that Rashford was off colour today, caught offside too many times. We just discussed the offsides. And why didn't he play the ball to Cavani? It baffled me. Off form. Yeah, Rashford, I do think he was disappointed again today. But the thing I will say about him, he's always a threat. I mean, you saw it at the Burnley game. Pretty much non-existent, and then comes up with an assist. Like, he has got that something special in his locker that he can play at the bag, and obviously he's got the pace to run the channels. But that one counter attack, I know it's when you're thinking when Cavani made the run. I don't know. I think that's a clever run. I don't know if there was a clear pass on. It would have to be timed perfectly. It was more Cavani's run was to drag the defenders out of the way and enable to Rashford to pair on. And I think you have to credit Fabinho, who I think was superb today, by the way, for Liverpool. But him defensively, his recovery there, the way that he stuck with Rashford, didn't give him a yard of space. I think it was good defending. But I can see what he's saying. I just think it was an awkward pass because it'd have to be timed perfectly. There was 2 defenders there. And I think Cavani's run was an unselfish one. It was more to try and clear the path, wasn't it? But Doug, Fabinho, for Liverpool, was he the standout player today?
Yeah, and I suppose you could say Ali as well, keeping us in the game. I mean, 2 fantastic saves from Fernandes, and that Pogba one as well. I mean, yes, it was straight at him, but the thing is, like, if that is like diagonal to the right or high into the net, then that's a goal for you guys. So Alisson or Fabinho were probably our standout players. I thought Robertson was good down the left. There was one cross in particular where he actually nearly found Firmino, who, let's be honest, was very, very wasteful in front of goal. But Maguire did really well to defend the situation. But yeah, Ali for me was probably our man of the match, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, Meg, that chance with Pogba should have done better, shouldn't he? Realistically, I mean, it's set up perfectly for him. A player like Pogba, you expect him just to smash it. And this is not me knocking Pogba because I thought he had a really good game. I was just gutted for him, to be honest with you. I had pictures of him scoring the winner at Anfield, and I would have been absolutely buzzing for him, and I know Meg would have lost it. I was gutted, and when you watch it back, I mean, you saw how disappointed he was, but it was such a good chance, wasn't it?
I don't think he could quite believe that it hadn't gone in. Like, when you look at it, he looks up, he's almost confused that Alisson saved it, because it's not that far out. I think he hit it so sweetly, but like I said, anywhere else, Alisson's obviously in a great position as a goalkeeper. He's blocked not the majority of the goal, but he's in the right position, central foot against the shot. But it's just perfect keeper height. And like I said, any higher, I think it would just go over his gloves. I don't think he would have been able to put like a full hand behind it. I think it's literally at his body, isn't it, almost, so he can stop it. But yeah, everything else was just set up. That one that someone mentioned, sorry, about the Cavani run, I actually completely agree with you, Soph. I think it's actually an unselfish run to drag the player, but he's still got a player with him, so I don't think it's an obvious pass, because still one-on-one. Had Fabinho gone with the Cavani run, it opens it up for Rashford, but Fabinho was solid at the back. I have to say, it was, for a makeshift centre-half, it's one of the top makeshift centre-halves I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's actually playing really well this season as a centre back. I actually wonder when like Van Dijk and Gomez come back into the team. I wonder if Fabinho will actually stay at centre back.
He's played there for Monaco though, hasn't he, as well, to be fair. So he has proved he can do that, and at full back as well. Very versatile player. He's just a quality player, to be fair, Fabinho, and obviously a player that a lot of United fans wanted from Monaco. Alex, he says that Ollie's just said that he's disappointed that we did not win today, and he says it was a missed opportunity in his post-match interview. I think that's what to say. That pleases me too, as he's setting high standards and he's made it clear. Yeah, I think, like I say, the more that game went on, the more I felt Liverpool were there for the taking, and that's why you feel a bit gutted that you've got a 0-0. But before the game, if you're offered a point at Anfield, the way that Liverpool have been playing, I think you would take it. Still top of the league. So you've got to be happy with that. But because we kind of grew into the game, the Pogba chance, the Bruno chances you mentioned, I just felt like we could have got a goal tonight, and that's a frustrating thing. But it could have been worse, and I think you always have to think about that. It could have been worse, couldn't it? So you focus on the positives and you take it into the next game. What we are going to do now, guys, is we're going to do our player ratings, and obviously get in the chat and get involved and let us know as well. A 5 is normally an average score, so you think someone's had a really average game, you give them a 5. Anything less than that is like an atrocious game, and obviously above that is players who have done fairly well. Doug, obviously you're welcome to come and join in and give us your ratings as well. A Liverpool fan rating might be a bit interesting, to be fair, because we sit on the fence quite a lot with some of our ratings, so it'd be nice to have someone to tell us what they think from a different viewpoint. But firstly, De Gea, we mentioned he didn't have a lot to do. Obviously, he had the Thiago save. Not much other than that, really. I mean, I'll start with you, Meg, on De Gea. What are you thinking about his rating?
Definitely above average. I think, like I said, the Thiago save, but that just shows that he's keeping concentration throughout the entire game. And he was there when needed as well. He came out, he collected some of the balls. He wasn't making silly mistakes, because a few of the shots, quite easily keepers make mistakes, don't they? They just throw it into their own net at times. But there was none of that. And another clean sheet. A clean sheet. I love it.
I'm Blue said a 7. I agree. I think I'm thinking around a 7, because at the end of the day, you can only do what you're asked to do. He had one main save to do and he did his job, kept a clean sheet. You can't really grumble at that. I mean, Doug, what would you say? What would you give De Gea?
I would say 7. I would say 7 as well, because that one save from Thiago was fantastic. I know he had one from Firmino, but that was a much easier save than the one from Thiago. So I thought he did really well coming out for balls as well. Just anything we gave into the box, he was coming out for it. So I think De Gea 7.
I agree. I think he had a fairly solid game. Like I said, he didn't have to do much, but when he was called upon, he did his job. So it's hard to really grumble at that after getting a clean sheet at Anfield. Wan-Bissaka, I thought he had a much better game today, Meg. I've been fairly harsh on him the last few weeks, saying going forward he kind of hindered us. But I think he had a pretty solid game today. What was your thoughts on him?
Honestly, I keep banging on about this Pogba chance, but had that gone in, Wan-Bissaka would have got the assist, and I was already thinking, I'm going to go on this show afterwards, and we're going to be like, Pogba got a goal, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka got an assist, and Lord help some people, because they'd have gone into meltdown about those two players doing well and winning it for us, but it wasn't to be. But I actually agree with you. I think he did really well. There was a couple of one-on-ones with Mane, and he kept him way out of our box at times. He won those one-on-ones. I would definitely go for another 7.
Yeah, Doug, do you agree with that one?
I'm going to go slightly higher. I'm going to give him a 7.5. I thought he was very, very good against Mane. I thought he was terrific defensively. There were a couple of times. I think there was maybe one where he could have been fortunate to, Mane was away and he was fortunate not to tackle him. But apart from that, I thought he was really solid, and I actually think he did really well against Robertson. So I'm going 7.5.
Yeah, we've got an 8 in there as well. We'll go 7.5. We'll push him up because we're top of the league, Meg. I'll keep saying that while we can.
That's fine, mate. Whack him up there.
Next up, then, we're going to go with Lindelof. Doug, I'll let you start with this one. A player who came in against the Arsenal player that a lot of people didn't want to see. They wanted to see Boye out there. But he did well, didn't he?
I'm going to say this again. I was actually amazed by he didn't start. But full credit to Lindelof. I thought he was solid. I thought he was really, really solid. I think he was really good defensively today. Did all the the messy work that you have to get the ball out of the box. Did very well with that. I think he dealt well with Firmino. Did well with Mane. Did well with Salah. 8.5.
I'm going to go on 8.5. I think. I mean, Meg, what's your thoughts on Lindelof today?
Again, I echo what Doug said about Baye. I did see the team sheet and I thought, he's not done it. He's not going for it. We're going to have this Maguire and Lindelof combination. And I was sitting there and thinking, Liverpool fans are going to be rubbing their hands together that they've seen the Lindelof name and not Baye's name. But that being said, he came and he did his job today and he did it superbly. There was obviously a lot of pressure on him, I think, because a lot of people... Baye's like the good cop, isn't he? Everyone loves Baye, and although he's a bit wild, everyone's kind of got a soft spot for him. And I think that means the pressure's on Lindelof when he comes back into the team, that he might not be as liked, but he's got to prove why he's in the starting 11, and I think he did that really well today. I'd give him an 8. Only because I know you've got going 8.5, and you put Aaron Wan-Bissaka 0.5 higher than me, so I would do exactly the same. I've just dropped it a little bit.
Yeah, I think an 8. I would agree on that for Lindelof. Like, he was up there in the running for man of the match for sure. The nice little pun not intended there, but yeah, he's going to be up there in the running for sure. But Maguire up next. I mean, I'll start with you, Maguire. What's your thoughts on that one? How did you think he played today?
Again, the whole of the defence did really well. I think Maguire, sturdy as ever, strong as ever. He's starting to find a little bit of form, dare I say it. This whole back line is starting to just find their feet, and like I said, another clean sheet. So the partnership worked really well today, and kept everyone at arm's length. So I give him an 8 as well.
Doug, do you think he deserves a similar rating to Lindelof, Doug?
Yeah, I think the only flaw in his game today was, I think there was one ball where I think he kind of dilly-dallied on the ball. I think Firmino closed him down and the ball went out wide. But apart from that, again, I thought he was pretty solid as well. So I'm going to echo Meg there and go and win an 8.
Yeah, I think I'll probably put him slightly lower than Lindelof, but I'm saying I'm going to do what Twisted does and put like 0.25 on it or something like that. I'm going to go like a 7.75 and Lindelof's an 8. I think it's slightly below. I'd agree. I think first half he looked a bit more shaky and he got more assured as the game went on, but I think he made some vital interceptions. He nicked in front of the balls to think, which I liked. He was aggressive. He didn't let Mane or Salah or whoever it was up front, Firmino, get hold of the ball. He was always trying to win it. Didn't give them an easy time. And I thought, to be fair, both centre-halves played well. So it's hard to put him any lower than that. Luke Shaw, for me, man of the match today. I'll be interested to see what the chat are saying about Luke Shaw in terms of his performance and what the rating is as well. But Meg, what rating would you give him?
I will give him... it's either going to be an 8.5 or a 9. So one of those two. Like I said, his positivity with moving forward with the ball was excellent, when I think we needed that, especially in the first half, because it just pushed us up a little bit higher. I felt we sat very deep in the first half, and Luke Shaw was perhaps someone that was picking the ball up and moving forward slightly more than the rest of them. And then he was consistent throughout the game, and he kept making those runs in the second half as well. So I'll give him a 9. Let's just be top of the league. I'll give him a 9.
You know what? On cloud 9 right now, on top of the league. I tell you that. So yeah, I think a 9 is fair for Luke Shaw. I thought, you know what? The only thing I'd say wasn't a 10 is that mistake that he made when he gave the ball away. It was a risky pass, went through the legs of the first player, and it's picked up by a Liverpool player. Could have been costly, but luckily we recovered it. But other than that, he was solid. And Alex, thank you for the super chat. He says Doug is a good guy. Do the Liverpool ratings too. We can definitely get a Liverpool one. Doug, I might need you to refer to the players. I might forget the odd Liverpool player, so if you let me know that.
Sure.
But I thought Luke Shaw, I've given him a 9 here in my book. But Doug, would you agree on that one?
Absolutely, man of the match for me. I think he's only had one bad game against Salah, and I think that was last season. But apart from that, he's been absolutely fantastic. So yeah, for me, Shaw, man of the match, 9.
Yeah, I agree. 9. He was quality today. Always on the front foot. Like I said, when he got the ball, he drove forwards. He wasn't like he was always wanting to play safe. And he tried to make something happen and solid defensively against Salah. Can't do any more than that. But McTominay, I've seen a few people in the chat saying that they give him less than an average score today, McTominay. Meg, firstly, what was your thoughts on his performance? Do you think that's being a bit harsh?
I think it's harsh. I don't think you can go to Anfield and only have an average game and get a point, like across the board. I think you've got to play better than average at Anfield to get anything out of the game. But what I will say, that Fred and McTominay in the first half was so deep and almost sat on top of our defence that when we went forward, we kind of lacked numbers. It was almost like I wanted one of them to just be a little bit more braver and just say, okay, I'm going to step up ever so slightly and just close that gap between the front four and then McTominay and Fred. So it was frustrating at times, I think. They did the dirty work. They broke the play up a little bit, but I don't think it was his best game, because he didn't shine out like he has shone against some of the lower teams. But definitely above average. I'll probably go for a 6 or a 6.5.
You know what I would say about McTominay though, and I feel like this is always unfair to judge him really low, because Bruno pushes so high, like we say. So you had Thiago, who literally had the licence, in that first half in particular. He had so much space, so they were outnumbered. It was almost like Fred and McTominay against 3 in that midfield, because Bruno was wandering off and playing as a forward player. And that made more legwork, obviously, the likes of Fred and McTominay. So I feel like he was doing almost an extra job in there. So I feel he does graft. He's not a pretty player, as we said before. He does all the dirty work, and that's why he's not the most glamorous player. He doesn't get the high scores. But I think a 7 is a fair rating today. I mean, Doug, would you agree on that?
Yeah, I would agree with I would agree with that. Yeah, like McTominay, like it wasn't his best performance, but he didn't really do anything bad, or like there was no mistakes or anything. So I mean, McTominay is going to be so important for Scotland at the Euros. I'm going to say that now. He's going to be so important, and he won't even play where he played today. He'll be one of the centre backs for sure. So but yeah, for me, it's 7 for McTominay.
Yeah, I agree. And United Flow, happy birthday to you. Hope you have a lovely birthday. Probably not much you can do, bless you, in lockdown at the minute. So I hope you're making the most of it and hopefully feeling positive after that game and that result. So yeah, all the best and thanks for tuning in. We appreciate that. But yeah, I think a 7, a 6 was put there. I couldn't really argue with that. Maybe a 6.5. But like you say, Meg, you had to be better than average to graft and to get a point at Liverpool. They make hard work of it. It's not an easy game. And I don't think he did a lot wrong. He's just gone the ball. You want a bit more from McTominay, but he had to battle in there today, and that's why I kind of feel for him. I'm Blue. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says people saying Lindelof is only good when he plays with 2 and 8 and Bailly, and we're saying that Lindelof at 8 before the match started showed why he's starting. You know what? Yeah, Lindelof, you cannot fault his performance tonight. And I think the fact that Bailly's back fit as well, we mentioned it with Telles coming in and Luke Shaw's all of a sudden performing better. I think Bailly getting back fit, that gives Lindelof a reason to graft and also step up. Competition for places is healthy all over. And I think we're starting to see now that when you do have squad depth, it pushes those first teamers, the first 11, should I say, to better their performances. And I think that Lindelof today, like I say, he played really well. And it's clear to see that Ollie trusts him when Lindelof is fit. That's what he wants to see. He wants to see Lindelof and Maguire. But yeah, he did really well, for sure. De Gea said his points dropped for Liverpool. Would you agree with that one, Doug?
I think we were probably going to, I think people expected us to win today. We've obviously been at Anfield. I'm relieved that the run is still going, in all honesty. But I would say it's probably more 2 points dropped for you guys than it is for us.
Yeah. Particularly as the game went on and the chances that we had, I think you'd have to say that. A good question here. Who would Doug prefer to win the league, United or City? I'm sure it'd be Liverpool, but if it's not Liverpool, United or City?
That's such a hard question. That one, it really is. Do you know what? For all the rubbish that Ollie has gone through, for everyone who's saying like Ollie out and the PE teacher, etc., pundits alike, I would like him to sit the pundits down, sit everybody down, and go and win that league for United. And that's me as a Liverpool fan saying that. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think he's had a lot of shit recently, and I think he should sit everybody down. But I actually like our rivalry more than Manchester City. I cannot stand Manchester City as a football club.
Yeah, and you know what? It's good to bring the old rivalry back. I know we've had the chat before saying that we'd love to see another title race between Liverpool and United. Might actually be finally getting that. So, yeah, interesting one. But we'll move on to Fred. Next, obviously, McTominay, we said, has had a fairly, slightly above average game, is what we're saying for McTominay. Fred, do you think he was similar to that, Meg?
Yeah, but again, going back to my point where I'd like one of them to be braver when they're in that holding role.
Yeah,
I just, it's probably Fred that I would probably prefer to step 5 yards higher. And like you said, well, because Thiago had so much space, just go and close that gap a little bit and not allow him to have that amount of 10 yards space. Just go and, but at one point, I was watching where they were, and we were on the attack, and they were literally in line. The pair of them were next to each other, 5 yards ahead of our defence. And it was like, it just, one of them just needed to step up and say, I'm just going to close that just so it's a little bit shorter. So we've got like an in-between person. And it probably, in my eyes, would have been Fred that had done that role. But again, dirty work. Like he got done a couple of times in the first half quite easily. I'll go for another 6.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with the 6.5. I think what Fred does so well is he's like a rash. Like you can't get him off you. Like he just follows you around. Doug, I'll let you think about that question for a bit while we discuss Fred. Yeah, he doesn't let you rest. He's a bit like a wasp when you can't get rid of it, Fred. And to play against him would be a nightmare. But when he does finally win the ball, he's a bit rash sometimes, and he's a bit erratic on the ball, and he gives it straight back away again, and he's a bit frustrating. And that's where I would like to see Fred improve. But in terms of tenacity and winning the ball back, I don't think there's many players better than him at doing that. But when he's on the ball, I just want him to look after it a bit more. I mean, Doug, how did you think Fred played today, firstly?
Yeah, a bit of a mixed game from him, in all honesty. To be honest, I can't actually remember his name being mentioned, I think, in the first half, or even the second half. I think it was a bit of an average game for Fred. But I'll go with what Meg said, 6.5.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, to be fair. I don't think I can push him any higher than that. Go on then, Doug. This question...
at this, because when you could literally see Doug read it and then he gasped. It's
a tough question.
I think he's like, I've got to answer this question in front of everyone now. And you just see it go through your eyes, and your cogs in your head start turning.
To be fair, it's better than what Doug is doing on his channel. He dropped this bomb of a question on me and expected me to answer it, and I was just like, oh my god, this is such a tough question. I've given him some thinking time here, so I've been a bit friendly. I've let him think about it first. But Doug, would you rather see Liverpool win the league or Scotland win the Euros?
I mean, can I not have both? Nah. In all honesty, like I want to get on level with you guys again with like 2020. Like I would like to look like that. I don't think Scotland are going to win the Euros. I don't think we're that good enough yet. I think probably the more further we're going to get to probably is either the last round, the round of 16, or maybe the quarterfinal stage. But I would love Scotland to do well at the Euros, but yeah, always Liverpool to win the league for me.
Yeah, so you're being realistic with that one then. You're saying Scotland aren't going to win the Euros, so I'm going to go with what could actually happen. I'd have done the same thing, but to be fair, I'd have done the same thing. Paul Pogba, next one. I thought he had a really good game. I mean, Doug, I'll start with you on Paul Pogba as a Liverpool fan, watching that. You've seen the amount of times Paul Pogba gets mentioned and a lot of negatives, but last few games he's played really well, and I thought tonight he continued that.
Yeah, I believe, and I might be wrong, someone in the chat can tell me, I think that was his first start at Anfield. I don't think he's ever started at Anfield. I think that was his first start at Anfield today. Because in all the other games, I think he's been on the bench. Like the Mourinho game, he was on the bench, and he may have been injured as well. I think he had a very good game, but he'll regret that miss at the end, because that was the chance. That was the chance to win the game. But No, there were some very good passes from him as well. Gave the ball away a little bit as well, but solid. I think the thing is now that, did you think he was played in the right position though? Like wide right, I don't think he's suited as wide right. I think you have to have him sort of more centrally. I'm not sure working on the left worked either, but for Pogba, I would give him an 8, to be honest. I think he was very solid.
I think he played really well, to be fair. I'm just reading my dad's in the chat and he said Liverpool were the best side for 60 minutes. United looked dangerous and I thought Liverpool were hanging on at the end. I'd agree with that. I think we grew into the game, definitely. But I wouldn't say that Liverpool battered us for 60 minutes. I think it was more Liverpool had more of the ball but weren't really getting anywhere with it. I think that was more the pattern of play. But then obviously I think we grew into it definitely towards the end. And like we've already mentioned, a bit gutted that Pogba didn't take that chance and score. But that's the only thing I'd say. Yeah, Pogba was, you could say, out of position. But also the fact that he missed that chance. I think that's the only thing we can mark him down on tonight. I think other than that, I think he was exceptional. I mean, Meg, Doug's given an 8. Would you agree with that one?
I definitely agree with that. And I also agree with the fact that I much prefer Pogba being in that kind of central position, playing a little bit more forward, in terms of not just sat next to the CDM, whoever that may be, but having a little bit more of an opportunity to break forward, but centrally, because I think he's got such a good range of passing. That I just like it that he picks the ball up and he can see these people on the who are wide left, wide right, and then feed them the balls. But yeah, 8 definitely.
Yeah, I think the commentator mentioned it. It's almost like we shoehorned Pogba in today because he's been playing so well. You can't drop him; he doesn't deserve to be dropped. And it's almost trying to. We said that we've regged him yesterday, Meg. It's almost trying to find where we can fit him in because he doesn't deserve not to play. He's too good not to play. So where do you play him? And obviously he got forced out wide again. But he did a job for the team, you'd say, defensively as well. I think he protected the full-back. He did a really good job. And going forwards, he was always the one who was trying to play that ball and didn't always come off. He was trying to play that sweeping ball, wasn't he? The diagonal switch to get us set on the counter-attack. And it didn't always come off, but he was always a threat. And unlucky not to score at the end, you'd say, as well. So, yeah, I think I'll give him an 8. I think he had a really good game. Bruno Fernandes on the next. Bruno Fernandes is an interesting one because we've said, Meg, the other day that Bruno Fernandes had an average game, but his average game was still a fairly decent game. Tonight, it wasn't at it again. His free kick, though, I did think that was in.
That free kick, had it just had a little bit more accuracy, that would have been in because it was the right height. There was no way the goalkeeper was stopping it. It was just the other side, the wrong side of the post. So, I don't know.
I remember this.
But it probably wasn't the most. He wasn't as influential in that game. But I think when you're playing someone like Liverpool, you can't be as influential as you can when you're playing against someone who's a bit more open in terms of a team. But I would say probably a 7. I'll give him a 7.
He's always trying to make it happen, isn't he? He's always trying to make something happen. I just don't think he had his best game today. Didn't get on the ball a lot, though, to be fair. Liverpool had the majority of the ball, so it's like, what do you expect him to do when we haven't got the ball? But Doug, as a Liverpool fan, obviously I'm sure he's one of the players that you would have been wary of before this game started. How did you think he played tonight?
Well, as I said it on Twitter, stop giving blooming needless free kicks away from the edge of the box because we all know what Fernandes is like from free kicks. But I think, I don't know. I think he had a good game. It wasn't his best game, but as we say, he is a game changer. He's a match winner. I think he should do better for the Alisson. The one that Alisson saved from him, I think he should do better there. But apart from that, I mean, I thought he did. I actually thought the Liverpool midfield did okay to contain him a little bit. Tactical fouls as well on him. I think there was one from Fabinho, one from Thiago, and I don't know if that kind of set him back a little bit. But I thought he was good. I'll give him a 7 for Bruno.
Yeah, I was going to say 6.5, to be honest with you, slightly above average. Always a threat for the opposition, a player that they're wary of, no matter how bad he's playing. But but it just didn't come off for him tonight. He was wasteful, I think, at times on the ball. And like I say, just didn't get a lot of the ball, and that not necessarily is down to him, it's down to the game. It just wasn't that kind of game tonight. But yeah, it wasn't very effective. So I'm going to say 6.5, I think, for Bruno, /7, obviously, is what you have said. Martial. Meg, thoughts on Martial tonight? Obviously, he came off fairly early.
Between him and Rashford, I think they mixed up where they start their positions. Rashford was going through the centre, especially in the first 30 minutes. Rashford was in the centre, Martial on the left. And they were drifting about a little bit, which I quite liked seeing. I don't like when Liverpool have done it fantastically in the past couple of seasons with their front three, where they can literally mix it up, and if they see one player going into their space, they're moving into a different set of space. And I quite would like to see that a little bit more with ours. I think we can be quite rigid that Rashford's on the left, Martial through the middle, and whoever's on the right. We kind of mix it up a little bit more, and we're getting better at it. That we can say, okay, Rashford, you go into the middle for a little bit, Martial go on the side. But I don't want to say he looked disinterested at times, but I just felt like he probably wasn't in the game as much. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if anyone else feels the same.
No, I agree. I think he had one little run, didn't he, where he did the little nutmegs? And I'd say that's where he looked the most threatening. But again, I just think going forwards, because Liverpool had the majority of the ball, and when we were winning it, it was kind of like we were giving it straight back to them. We just weren't composed on the ball at all, particularly in that first half. I don't know, we just didn't really get much service to them kind of players as well, which is why I feel like it's a bit harsh to judge them too. I think I'd give him slightly above average. I think I kind of agree with De Gea there at 5.5, but not his best game by any means. But at the same time, what did he really have to work on? I think it's a bit harsh. I mean, Doug, what's your thoughts on Martial?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I was surprised he started. I thought Cavani was a certain starter today. I actually thought he didn't look fit either. I mean, there were a couple of times where he got at Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I did feel that I think the thing is that the fact that we had more of the ball, he looked isolated, and I think we'll see what happens about that. But what I'm going to say is I think Martial. I wonder if Cavani will come in for the game against Fulham. Because for me, Martial doesn't look match fit at this moment in time. But I usually say an average is a 6. So I'll give Martial a 6.
Yeah, 6. Do you agree with that one, Meg? Should we go with a 6? Should we finish on that one?
I would definitely give him a 6.
And then Rashford, then is he worse than Martial in your eyes, on par or better? Meg, thoughts on Rashford tonight?
I think everyone's just going to be really frustrated with the fact that he wasn't onside for a lot of the runs that he made. But the fact that he's making those runs is really important, and don't stop making them runs. Okay, yes, you get caught offside, but I think what we need to remember is the fact that he's still trying to do that, and he is getting in to the right positions, and we've given him service. They just need to be a little bit more connected, whereas the run and the play of the ball matches, rather than we're holding on to the ball a little bit too long and he's already ran, or he's running a little bit too early before we're ready to release the ball. So whilst I know a lot of people will slate him for those offsides, actually I'm really happy that he's still making those runs.
Yeah,
that might be me trying to find a silver line into a cloud, but it's important that attackers still find those gaps of space.
Yeah,
but I'd give him another 6. I think a lot of these 4s and 4.5s are actually quite harsh.
Yeah, I could see why people are saying that, because they're frustrated at the Cavani pass, but personally I didn't see it that way. I saw it as Cavani was an unselfish run, so I'm not going to mark him down for that. I don't think I'll mark him down on the fact that Fabinho caught up with him, but Fabinho deserves credit for that, to be fair. But it just wasn't in the game enough for me. He just was not in the game enough. We saw it when he did finally get at them, and I think he played Luke Shaw in on the overlap and he put a ball in, we looked dangerous. And when Rashford gets the ball, I think far too many times, I mean, he played one ball for Bruno, which paid off, to be fair. It was a good ball through. But he's always looking for that pass, and sometimes just wanted to be a bit more direct and just have a run. Because when he's running at players, like, he's a nightmare. He's almost impossible to defend against at times. He just doesn't do that enough for me, and that's what I would say. I wanted to get at players a bit more. But yeah, I think a 6 probably, I think I've been kind by giving Martial and Rashford a 6. I think they could have easily gone down to a 5.5 or a 5, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think I would say a 6 for Marcus Rashford because he is always a threat. And whether he's not playing amazingly well, like I say, he's always got that bit of magic in him. He can always produce something out of nothing. It just didn't really come off for him tonight, so I think I'd agree on that one. Subs that came on, I'll start with Cavani. Obviously, Doug, you said you thought he was going to start this one. Do you think he had a bit much of an impact when he came on?
Not really. Just go back to Rashford. Rashford needs to learn the offside rule because the amount of times he was offside, honestly, it must frustrate the living daylights out of United fans when they see Rashford is way too offside. But yeah, obviously, I'm one of those people that just wants the flag to be up for. If someone's offside, just put the flag up. Don't let the play like the next 2-3 seconds after that. Cavani, I didn't really have much time to make an impact, and I wonder, that ball that Rashford should have played to Cavani. It was an intelligent run from Rashford, but I thought Fabinho did really well to track the run for sure. But I suppose Cavani can't really say much about him. Really, 6 is average. Yeah. Probably not much time to make an impact.
I agree, Meg. Would you agree on that one? A 6 for Cavani?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. Completely the same. Just that it was a little bit too late.
I completely agree. I think he didn't have much time to really do a lot, did he? And then obviously last, is it Greenwood? We haven't said Greenwood, have I? Yeah, Greenwood next. And Mason Greenwood, how did you think he did? I'll start with you, Meg. It's very similar. Like, what was he meant to do in that time, really?
And this is the whole thing I said about James yesterday, that the subs at times, you've got to come on and try and make such an impact in such a short period of time. It just doesn't happen, especially in games like that where you don't really want to make a mistake either because it's so tight and it could go either way. It was still in the balance right towards the end. So, probably another 6 for Greenwood.
Yeah, I think it's hard. I don't want to judge him too harshly because he didn't have a lot of time to do anything, which is why I'm saying a 6 and not a 5 because I think it's harsh to be like, he was a very average game and probably didn't really touch the ball. So, yeah, it's harsh. But yeah, I'll go a 6 for that one. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I forgot to rate him in the last one, so we'll actually rate him today. Leaving Boye playing Lindelof didn't seem too costly in the end, so I think you have to give him credit for that. I mean, Doug, as a Liverpool fan, what do you think you'd rate Ollie for this today, the way that we set up?
As I said, I was amazed that Bailly didn't start, but obviously Lindelof coming in has obviously paid off. I think he got the right team. I think it was very attacking from Ollie. I liked what his plan was to attack us from the very beginning. I would give him an 8, to be honest.
Yeah, he got a clean sheet. Another clean sheet at Anfield, you'd have to say is not bad. But the fact that we didn't win, the fact that for me you're there for the taking, that weighs it down a little bit. I mean, Meg, overall, how did you think Ollie did?
I think he had some really big decisions to make before this game, and we sat there and we debated the starting 11 yesterday, and I didn't put Lindelof in. I was odds on that Bailly was going to play, and Ollie made the call that it was Lindelof and not Bailly, and they've got a clean sheet. A 4.
George gone with
Yikes.
But I just feel like they got a clean sheet, so defensively, that's what you're there to do. You're there to keep to try and not concede, and they literally did that. They didn't concede 1, so you've got to say that he made the right decision in terms of defensive choices because there was no goals conceded. But I do think the subs came a little bit too late, and I probably give him and I'm going to give him an 8 because we're sat top of the league still. So
yeah.
He's played that, we've gone there, he's made decisions, and we're still sat top of the league.
Yeah, I was thinking like a 7. I was trying to think if you're starving and you want something to eat and you have, I don't know, a sandwich from Tesco or something like that, and you got to rate the sandwich afterwards. And it was all right, it filled you up because you were hungry. And like I say, it was all right, it wasn't bad, but it did the job. I'd probably say it's 7 out of 10. And that's what I'm going to say Ollie is. Ollie's that sandwich. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 because we didn't lose, like Meg said, we didn't concede. But I just feel like it could have been better.
Nice of you to bring up Tesco, though. I like that.
Yeah, do you know what I did there, Doug? Meal deal.
Yeah.
Doug, what would you say about Ollie, though? Do you think an 8 is high or 7? I don't know. It's really harsh, isn't it? Because, like I say, I think it's our expectations are high, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing because we're starting to talk like we're top of the table. And a lot of people said we didn't deserve to be there, but I do think tonight, keeping a clean sheet at Anfield, it could have been worse, couldn't it? Definitely. And we've got to focus on the positives, haven't we?
I think it kind of shows how far you guys have come, because obviously your last defeat away from home was at Anfield last season. So the fact that you guys are still unbeaten as well will give you very good confidence going into the next away game, which I think is Fulham away on Tuesday. I think it is. Yes. Again, that'll be a tricky game, but the thing with that game is I think you will have enough to beat Fulham. But Ollie deserves a lot of credit for this away run that you guys are on, and it should pose you well going forward for sure. Fingers
crossed, and let's just hope that other teams drop points around us. But what you have to do is you have to focus on us, focus on our games, focus on us and do our job, and that's all we can do. Hey, thank you so much for the super sticker. Really appreciate it. Thanks as always for the support. But Doug, obviously we've been nearly an hour now, so I'm not going to sit and go through every single Liverpool player. But what I will ask you is, on your side of things, who was the standout player for you today? Who do you think played best for Liverpool?
I would say Alisson. Alisson for me, followed by Fabinho, I think. And Thiago is just a wonderful player to watch. Pass a football. Yeah, there were a couple of times where misplaced passes, etc. But I have to say, my top three were probably Fabinho was my man of the match, Alisson, and then Thiago.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Thiago faded, I think. First half he ran the game, to be honest with you. Second half, I think because we grew into the game, we had more of the ball. It just didn't dictate. It didn't have much control in the middle. But in that first half, yeah, he definitely showed his quality. And that strike, to be fair, forced a good save from De Gea. So I think Thiago has to be up there, definitely. But Fabinho for the interception that he made on Rashford, but he was just solid all game as well. I think he was the standout player from my point of view, definitely. But yeah, stalemate. None of us really expected it. I think a few people were expecting a few goals, but we move on. We go forwards. For both teams, it could have been worse. I think that's basically the feeling after that, isn't it? And we take positives into the next game. But firstly, Doug, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you just shout out your channel and let people know where they can find you as well.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me, Sophie and Meg. Keep up the good work, you two. I really enjoy this show. Really enjoy from moderating it, from obviously the chat as well. Really do enjoy it. But you can find me at the Dugout Football channel, as you can see on the screen that way. I'm also on Twitter at enrod_1992. My Instagram is Douglas.Horn, and you can find me on Facebook at Douglas James Horn. But thank you very much for having me, Sophie. I really do appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure, Doug, and I'm just grateful that you haven't been able to come in here and gloat, to be honest with you. So, I'm not joking. But yeah, no, absolute pleasure to have you on as always. Could talk football for hours. And Meg, as always, an absolute pleasure to have you on as well. And yes, let people know where they can give you a follow.
Thank you for having me back on again. Just want to say, at least if you can't win, you don't lose, and that's what I think both teams have managed to do, haven't they? They've not lost. They've not given other opposition, because there's plenty of teams still in this, isn't there? For the long haul, I think. So as long as they haven't had any chance to catch us up too much, you can find me. Where am I? Which hand? This way, somewhere.
Away.
It's so back to front because my webcam's here, the laptop's over here, and you're trying to work out where it is. But yeah,
it is weird.
I'm in one of these corners.
Yeah, obviously, Meg Salter's on screen. Go and give her a follow as well. Always on hairdryer treatment, talking great sense about United and the women's team as well. Touch on the women's team, Meg. What are your thoughts after that game today?
Banger by LJ for United, but the second goal that cost us the game was just, as a centre half, you're just thinking, go and win the ball. Don't let it bounce. That's what I was always taught. Don't let it bounce. We let it go over our head and to the one person you don't want it to go to, and Frank Kirby finishes it off beautifully for Chelsea. Disappointing, but I think it just shows where we've come so far for Manchester United women, and we're still very much in it. We just got to continue to do what we have been doing. Just to say as well, for the Manchester United women, the team that they're playing against today, I mean, they brought on quality players. And I think that, Manchester United women are it's still very relatively new in terms of the setup compared to other teams. And I think in a few years, we will see the likes of the fact that we'll have more quality in the team, more internationals, more superstars. We're just not quite there today. But I don't think we're very far off, apart from an excellent Chelsea team.
Yeah, I agree. There wasn't a lot between the two teams. I think it was a disappointing goal to concede, but a massive positive is LJ coming on, scoring that goal, like you say. Such a talent, and what a player to have in your ranks. So yeah, like I say, take the positives and take it into the next game. Same for the men's team. We're still top of the league. I'm going to leave this on there to round the show off. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Obviously, if you miss your comments, just drop a comment afterwards and me and Meg will definitely check them there. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed the content. And if you are new, please hit that sub button as well. Really appreciate it. We're so close to 15k. And of course, whilst you're here as well, hit that sub button on Doug's channel, The Dugout, and go and check out his content as well. He's obviously a Liverpool fan, but as you've witnessed, he's all right for a Liverpool fan. He's not too bad. But also he discusses obviously the predictions and stuff, don't you, Doug? And you discuss Premier League football in general. So go and check that out for sure. And guys, keep smiling. Have a good evening. We'll be back near the Fulham game. Keep smiling. Have a great rest of your weekend.